We're live again. Welcome. You'll never believe it. I actually did something good this week. We'll see. But for tonight, I have someone who has I believe, a rooting interest in tonight's game. So, tell the people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, but obviously you can find me at RyanPros_FF. I'll probably be tweeting out about the game, of course. My frustrations probably, but yeah, it's been all good. Still writing for the Dynasty Vipers and still doing the Sunday morning shows with Spencer and Matt. Love to see it in the Fantasy Newsroom.
Yeah, I feel like I've had you on this channel so many times. You should almost you should almost put your name on the channel at this point. I might have to do that. I might have to do that. I feel like I named the channel after me, and that was a move. If you're watching this on Twitter, stop watching it on Twitter. You're wasting your time. You can't communicate with us, and we can't communicate it with you. You can't comment. We can't comment back to you. So if you're on Twitter, I just posted the YouTube link. One post above that, just go to that. Just stop watching it on Twitter. I've debated just stopping streaming it to Twitter entirely until they turn the this is my show. I can curse. Until they turn the fucking comments feature on. Fucking comments feature. Who launches a live stream platform without a comments feature? So how do you think the Eagles are going to do tonight? What do you think about that?
Well, I did a pick show before this. I have some bets in.
You do? Tell the people. Okay, that's interesting because there are no comments yet, so we don't have any start-sit questions. Tell the people your one bet, because I'm not a big betting person, so I'd love to learn. Tell the people your one bet for tonight.
Well, besides the Bucks on the point spread, I give a prop. Let me pull it up real quick.
I'll give that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I literally know nothing about this.
So mine's a little risky. I don't know if it's a go-to prop. I'd probably bet if I was doing a go-to prop, I'd bet Zach Ertz over 4.5 receptions. But I gotta find the number. I'm being a little,
I'd go the over there, I think.
What's Miles Sanders rushing yards? I'm betting Miles Sanders over 35 rushing yards.
It's only 35.
That's how low it's gotten. Like,
wow.
If he gets the ball enough, it's an easy lock for 35.
Damon says Connecticut starting statewide betting next week. Now, it's not a start-sit question, but I just received a Dynasty trade offer. Here's where we are. Here is where we are in Dynasty. I have received just now, 2 minutes ago, Elijah Moore for Kadarius Toney. Elijah Moore for Kadarius Toney. I've received that offer.
See,
what would you do?
4 weeks ago, this would be a smash accept.
4 weeks ago, it would be a joke. 2 weeks ago, it would be a joke.
But I don't know. Like, Kadarius Toney is one of those players where you picked him in, I'd say probably the mid-third round, early third. Around that point.
Picked him in the mid-second.
Well, then you can do that too. I mean, I'm just saying. I don't know how big the league is, but
12 teams, super flex.
You might just want to ride this out, don't you? Like, I know he's analytically, but I might keep Kadarius Toney because Elijah Moore has showed me absolutely nothing to this point.
That's right. I'm not going to take this offer. I'm going to decline it. But yeah, I'd rather have Kadarius Toney in Dynasty than Elijah Moore at this point.
How far we have come.
I know. It's crazy. I was one of the Elijah Moore's biggest believers.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Really, really, really happy. What is this? Devonta Parker on the plane to London. Great. That tells us something. So keep that in mind. Parker may play this weekend. You don't want to play him, but he may play. But yeah, I would rank Kadarius Toney over Elijah Moore at this point. So
pretty easily. I mean, until Elijah Moore shows us something.
I haven't decided if I'm going to counter this offer. Probably not. I don't know what I counter really. Probably would need a. Well, I mean, I would need even for me, a third with Moore is not enough. If I could get a second with Moore, I would accept it. I mean, I'll probably counter that, assuming it's going to be declined. I mean, I'd rather have more in a second than Tony in Superflex.
I agree on that one.
Like, Moore is still worth more than a second. Like, Moore to me is still worth almost 2 seconds. Even now, Elijah Moore. So how much is Tony really worth? I don't know. 3 seconds not enough first.
Yeah, probably a smidge more.
Yeah. But I would take Moore in a second for Tony. I still believe in Elijah Moore. Still think Elijah Moore is a better player. I just hasn't at this point. Tony has to be worth more.
I mean, yeah, he's a 30-point game basically.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had more points in one game than Elijah Moore's had in the other 5 games. So it is what it is. All right, we have our first question in the chat. So I pulled up questions in advance. Now, I did my start sit thread today. I answered all questions, but I specifically for this show pulled the questions concerning tonight's game. So we're going to go focus on the questions for tonight's game in advance. But if you bring a question into the chat, you're here. So we'll answer. And we'll focus on the questions in the chat first, no matter what they are. And they don't have to be start sit. If you're here, I'm going to answer your question, because you're here, no matter what. So we actually have some questions rolling in. So we will get to those. A Sunday morning, I like to keep it to start sit. But on Thursday's show, we have time. So if it's a dynasty question or a trade question, I have more time to take that. So the first question from Andrea, Brandon Cooks or Devonta Smith this week? PPR. So it's about tonight. What do you think? I have these players close. I don't know where you are.
I'm high on Devonta Smith tonight. He has the target share. It's all there. I know Brandon Cooks struggled because they played the Patriots. Bill Belichick was obviously going to scheme out of the game. I don't hold that against him at all. But I got to go Devonta.
I would too. I have Devonta Smith at wide receiver 25 and Brandon Cooks at wide receiver 28. Wide receivers deep. Like, I like Brandon Cooks as a play this week, but there's 27 guys I like more.
I like to play them both.
Yeah, there's really this week. I get actually honestly, Brandon Cooks might be the last one. Adam Thielen at 29 is kind of maybe in there, and then Emmanuel Sanders at 30. No, so there's 28, 29 receivers. I'm very comfortable with this week, with Brandon Cooks being one of the last. But I would still go with Devonta Smith, who I'm also very comfortable with this week.
I mean, Bucs pass defense is bad.
So. Oh, it's very bad. Yeah, it was good, but it's not
injuries
with all the injuries. And also the Bucs are going to eviscerate the Eagles, so the Eagles
they're going to have to throw the ball a lot to keep up.
The problem is I just feel like you can only really rely on Smith. I don't really feel like you can rely on everybody.
I'm in on Ertz, but for daily fantasy purposes.
I don't have Ertz that high. No, you could start Ertz. I mean, you could start Ertz in the regular league. In DFS, he's a must play, right? Because the pricing came out with Goddard in.
Yeah, he's one of the lowest players starting.
He's very low price. So he must be, I mean, what do I know about DFS? But he must be like the chalk play for tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Damon, not about Tampa. We'll take this one anyway because it includes players that I think people want to hear about.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Patrick, people not so interested in him. Allen Robinson, now that one people are interested in. Or Javonte Williams, full PPR. So we discussed, I don't know if we discussed it, but I discussed Allen Robinson.
We have a couple
of times. I discussed it. I mean,
it's been a hot topic for weeks now, but in the fantasy
community. Weeks, yeah. So last week I said Allen Robinson has one more chance before we have a different conversation. If he didn't deliver last week, we would have a different conversation. Well, he didn't deliver. Here we are, a different conversation. A very different conversation about Allen Robinson, who at this point, I have ranked for the week. I don't even like this ranking, but I have Allen Robinson at wide receiver 32, which still seems too high.
I have him lower. I have it 35, so I'm all right around you. So
the matchup against Green Bay is so good, but I still only have him at 32. Allen Robinson in an amazing matchup at 32. So that just goes to show you where usually Allen Robinson against the Packers would be a locked-in wide receiver 1. So he's at 32.
Like 8.
Yeah, he'd be like 8 or 10. He's 32. So I think that's probably higher than consensus. Consensus, I think, was somewhere in the mid-30s, though. It's not. He's not in the 40s. To answer this question, though, I think Javonte Williams he looked better than Melvin Gordon last week. I've gone back to ranking Javonte Williams ahead of Melvin Gordon, but I think you can play them both this week against Vegas. I have Javonte at running back 20, and I would lean Javonte Williams of these. Just barely.
No, I hate that they can't give him the full workload yet. I hate it. It's so close, but I mean, I think you got to give Allen Robinson one more chance. I think I'm doing it over Javonte. If you mention another player, I'd probably go for the other player, someone ranked higher, but I have Javonte at 27, which I think might be
that's really low. Yeah, I have him much higher.
It's difficult with all the – well, it's 26. I wrote someone's name twice. But, yeah, I think Allen Robinson. Jair's out. You got to trust it.
I don't trust Allen Robinson.
I don't either, but you have to play him. Like,
I don't want to.
It's tough.
I don't want to. Oh, man. Here we are.
Way to go.
Oh, I don't think we're going to agree.
No, you're not in on Rashad.
Oh, no, we're not going to agree. I can already tell. If you're excited about this one, I know we're
excited about this one.
Why? What is exciting?
Rashad
the guy who got Mitchell in a second won the deal. Sorry. I mean, that's what happened. I'll take Mitchell in a second.
See, I had this conversation. I haven't moved him down in my dynasty rankings due to injury, which I maybe should have.
You should have.
But I'm kind of stuck on pre-draft valuations. He was my wide receiver 2 coming into the draft.
Well, he was not for me, so that's part of why we have a difference. People always think that I've been out on Rashad Bateman because of the landing spot. Now that's true, but I had Rashad Bateman as my wide receiver 5 pre-draft, so I was not in. Not compared to some people. To me, this was a one receiver class anyway. Jamar Chase, which clearly I was right about that, by the way. Jamar Chase was like, had already taken 2 laps, and then everyone else was like 2 laps behind him, which I was right about, by the way, just for the record. The record shows that. But, everyone else, I had Devonta Smith second. I actually had Rondale Moore second until it was obvious he wasn't going to go in the first round. And then Devonta Smith. And then Waddle.
He's good. He doesn't look bad.
Right, but all of those guys have looked good. And Bateman's done nothing. So I don't know. I'm not sure I had it wrong originally. Like, I went with the guys that I thought the NFL, other than Rondale, I mean, with Devonta and Waddle, I went with the guys I thought the NFL would like better. And they did. And here we are. I mean, what is the track record of rookies who fail as rookies? They fail. What is the track record? Can you name, I want you to name one rookie who had a performance that caused his ADP to drop from year 1 to year 2 and then went on to a successful career. Can you name any?
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to look.
I can give you a couple. Corey Davis. It took 4 more years. Mike
Devontae
Williams.
Parker.
Now. Yeah. Devontae Parker. Actually, Devontae Parker had a decent rookie year. It wasn't that good, but he didn't.
But then the 2 and 3 were, and 4 was.
That was longer ago. People were more patient with wide receivers then than they are now. But typically, face planters are your Kevin White, N'Keal Harry, that Jalen Reagor.
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs. How's Henry Ruggs doing in value, right?
Right.
I mean, is he though? Like, his value declined and now he's just he's there. One of the guys I like, Brian Edwards, another face planter, and clearly I should have listened to myself. Paris Campbell, face planter, washed out. It's really hard. When you lose value from year 1 to year 2, you just don't succeed. And there's just no way. I mean, I don't think Bateman is going to come in and even be relevant at all for weeks. And then he might come in and be the 3rd weapon on the team down the season. It's not going to be good. So Yeah, I'll take Mitchell in a second, personally. I'm good. I'm good with that.
I was just higher on Bateman coming out, and
Mitchell's a playable running back right now. Bateman
That's
could
true.
be to me, Bateman's already halfway to being a bust. So at least what his ADP was, right? I mean, if he
top end of the second.
If he doesn't do much the rest of the year, he's going to carry value next year, similar to what Jalen Reagor had going into this year. Do you want that? That like exciting? If you had picked him, in the late first round of a Superflex rookie draft, you'd be killing yourself for it. I mean, you'd be really upset. So totally out. I'll take the Mitchell side.
I'm still taking the Bateman side.
I really think
knock on him.
I think this is a little bit of take lock. I think people have take lock on Bateman. I do. I think people have take lock, and they're just unwilling to accept that Hollywood Brown is just a better player. They're unwilling to accept that. They're unwilling to accept that the guy who has a wide receiver 1 track record over the last 11 games might just be a better player. They're not willing to accept that. And they're never going to be willing to accept that until it's made obvious to them, which I think will happen very soon. I believe that Hollywood Brown is going to have a better career going forward than Rashad Bateman. So if I believe that, given the Ravens situation and Mark Andrews being locked in there on a big contract, my interest in Bateman and Dynasty is 0. So I want him off my team immediately. So I would take this deal. I think Mitchell's going to be the starter for the rest of the year now that I heard Jeff Wilson's not coming back until maybe late November. So that could be not at all. So, yeah, no, I don't agree with either you or the Ryan who gave the question. Okay. Hurts or Burrow, 6-point passing touchdowns.
Let's go Hurts. I like Burrow, though, in 6 point. I like them both. I have
6 point makes it closer. 6 point makes it closer. Because I ranked 4 point, and I had Hurts 6 and Burrow 9. Debating if 6 is enough to change my mind.
It isn't for me. I have them 6 and 10, so.
I don't think it's enough for me either. It makes it very close instead of pretty easily Hurts, though.
I mean,
I think I'll still lean Hurts.
Joe Burrow's a good matchup, too, against Detroit.
Very good. So, but I'll still lean Hurts. It's closer, though. I don't know. Who are your top picks for flex? I have no idea. Give me names. Damien Harris versus Dallas. You can play him. I'll tell you where I've been ranked. I assume that's what you're asking for. I have Damien Harris, running back 24, so you could play him, but I don't feel like you have to if you have better options. In PPR, that is, running back 24.
Yeah, I'm at 27, just a little bit lower.
Little lower, yeah. You could play him, but I'm not comfortable with him. I'm not comfortable. I mean, there are other players I would rather. I'd rather just take my chances in the Denver backfield with either of them than I would with Damien Harris. I don't want to play Damien Harris. Brandon Cooks, AJ Brown. AJ Brown is someone to talk about, and T. Higgins. So Brandon Cooks, AJ Brown, T. Higgins. Well, what do you got here?
I have them all really close. I think you have to start AJ Brown.
Yeah, I still have AJ Brown at 17.
And then I have Brandon Cooks a little bit above T. Higgins.
And I have it reversed. I have Higgins above. I just feel that Higgins against Detroit, I think the matchup is excellent. I have Higgins at 26. I have Higgins and Boyd basically reversed versus expert consensus, with Higgins higher and Boyd lower. Personally, I don't understand why Boyd is ranked higher. I just don't get it.
He hasn't done much at all.
I just don't understand.
Except the games where Higgins missed, really. He was
It is important to note that Julio practiced in full. Practiced in full today. Problem is, that's a Monday night game. I would assume if he's practicing in full on a Thursday for a Monday night game, he's going to play. Mm-hmm. Problem is, if he goes in with a questionable tag, I don't know what you do with Julio. I just assume he's going to play and hope for the best. You might have better options. So I'm a little bit all over the map with Julio, but I don't know how much that would even affect how I feel about AJ Brown. Honestly, probably not much. Julio looked good in week 2, but he looked washed in week 1. So I don't really know which Julio we're going to get. But either way, for me, it would be Brown Higgins. And thanks for our time. Yeah. I like doing these shows. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. For sure. All right. From Songbird, Damien. Okay. So now we're back to Damien Harris. So Damien Harris versus Dallas. Booker. Okay. Booker is interesting. Booker is someone to talk about. Booker versus the Rams. Khalil Herbert is something to talk about. So Khalil Herbert versus the Packers. Full PPR pick 2. So as people may or may not know, it happened maybe an hour and a half ago?
Yeah.
Damian Williams was placed on the COVID list. So if you're being placed on the COVID list now, he's not going to play this week. So he's going to miss this game. That means that, Montgomery is already out. Cohen is still on PUP. Now Damien is out. So they really don't have anything other than Khalil Herbert. They're going to call up somebody else. Somebody's going to get carries. But essentially, I just put Khalil Herbert where Damian Williams was before, more or less. That might be a little bit low, but I have, I really just don't know. We only saw one game from Khalil Herbert. I don't know how much I can trust him. So I have him at
18 carries in that game.
Yeah, I have him I would pick him of these. I have him at running back 22. And then I would go Harris second. Booker, I don't want to play Booker. This could be a total disaster. And they just abandon the run entirely. I don't know if I want to play Booker. So I'll go Herbert and Harris. Assuming Harris gets a full go.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Khalil Herbert's very interesting with the carries he got last week and Damian Williams being out now. So Green Bay is not the worst matchup in the world. The Rams is, though. So
the Rams,
yeah. I don't trust Devonta Booker.
I don't want to play Devonta Booker. Okay. Is CMC playing? So I thought CMC was going to play. He didn't practice today. I still think CMC is going to play, personally. I still think CMC is going to play. But for purposes of this question, Henderson or Hubbard, it would be Henderson anyway. So you don't have to worry about that. Henderson anyway. Henderson is a great play this week against the Giants.
Yep.
Okay. I assume this is a draft. Kyler, Kupp, and Knox for Rodgers, Justin Jefferson, Travis Kelce, and Gaskin. Is this? It's the. I don't even. Trying to think of any format where this trade makes sense. In redraft, It's the Kelce side. Easily. I feel like this almost has to be Superflex Dynasty. That's the only way. Well, anyway, tell me what this is. In redraft, it's the Kelce side.
Oh, yeah. Pretty easy.
But interesting reaction to the Bateman trade. Well, if I just don't believe in his talent all that much. Didn't take much for me to be convinced. Clearly, you can see how much I believe in Bateman's talent. I've already been convinced that Hollywood Brown is a better player. So that shows you what I think of Bateman. It's not much. He's just a prospect, good prospect. Nothing special. Good, not great. Do I start Miles Sanders tonight? Or, well, you don't want to do that. Or wait on the status of CMC Carson. I have Chuba and Collins on the bench. So wait. I would wait. Yeah, I don't want to start. I don't want to start Miles Sanders. I have Miles Sanders at running back 29.
I'm at 24. A little higher.
That's too high. I don't want to start him at all. Okay, so this was redraft. Then it's the side getting Kelce.
Oh. Always take Kelce in redraft. It's such an advantage.
Kelce. Okay, from Patty, do I accept this trade? RC Brady, he receives Mixon. My RB1 is Henry. My other option, if I give up Mixon, are people on waivers help. Okay. I don't want to do that. I want to keep Mixon. Now, what am I missing here?
Maybe it's a super flex.
It's super flex is Brady. This makes no sense either way. If it's a super flex, it's Brady. If it's a 1 QB, this is a terrible idea. Keep Mixon. So I answered it for you. Okay, from Lefty Geo. Good evening. Well, good evening to you. Pollard or Javonte Williams this week? PPR. Javonte Williams. It's gonna be Javonte Williams for me. Javonte Williams have a 20. I don't dislike Pollard, but Zeke has looked better. I only have Pollard at 30. I'm not that excited by Pollard. Pollard is what he is. it's a worse version of Kareem Hunt in an offense that doesn't run as much as the Browns do.
I agree.
He's not as good as Kareem Hunt. The offense doesn't run as much, and he isn't as good of a receiver either as Kareem Hunt. So
take the guaranteed role.
Yeah, Devonta Williams. Devonta Williams is a 50-50. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. That's what we're here for, to answer all the questions. That's why we have the Thursday show, so I can get to some questions that aren't start sit on my own channel. I also left out my QB is Burrow. No. It's keep mixing. Keep mixing.
Keep Burrow.
We're not trading mix. Yeah, we're not trading mix. We're not, unless it's super flex. But I don't. If it's super flex, then it was Brady the whole time. It would have been Brady over Mixon in draft season. It's Brady now.
Yeah.
Unless it's Dynasty, it's Mixon. But I don't know. It's hard. It's a lot of what ifs. Anyway. All right. So we have some questions from some of our friends.
Oh.
From Coach Bruce. We know Bruce.
Yep.
So he's asking essentially 3 players. Put them in order. Jalen Hurts this week, Dak Prescott, or Kyler Murray, those 3. How do you see it?
You're not going to like this one. I bumped down Kyler because of matchup a little bit. Maybe a little bit too far. I've been going Hurts, Murray, and then Dak.
Yeah, I have it Murray, Hurts, and then Dak. I have Murray at 4. I have bumped him down. Hurts at 6 and Dak at 10.
I have him 6, 7, and 9.
Yeah, I'm a little lower on Dak this week. I could take or leave him, honestly. At 10. I don't like the matchup against New England, really, for Dak. Big Ben or Cousins is my quarterback too. No, it's never Ben. So I don't even have to look at my rankings. Yeah, it's I have Cousins at 13 and Ben at 22. So never Ben.
Pretty.
Got anything to add about Ben?
No. We watch the season, right?
we see that Ben is washed. So.
He fails the eye test really bad. You don't get any in-depth stats.
The matchup against the Panthers is not the best, but Big Ben, I don't trust him. I get it. I get the matchup against the Seahawks. I understand why you would want to do that. But the problem is my issue and why I don't really have Big Ben as a great play is that the Seahawks offense went from being really good to now it's not. So I expect the Steelers to win this game against Geno. I mean, I think I would expect the Steelers to win this game. So if I expect the Steelers to win, I think it's going to be a Najee Harris game. So I'm not forcing Ben in there.
I agree.
Okay. First of all, from Thomas. Love you, Thomas. Thomas is actually one of those people who's just always very supportive and always there for us. So
he does my graphics at Dynasty Vipers. He's the man.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Yeah. Okay. Much love. Thank you. Second, Hurts or Brady? Good question. Good question between Hurts and Brady. I have them 5 and 6.
I have them 5 and 6, but I think we have them flopped.
Yeah, I have Brady ahead.
Oh, no, I have Brady ahead too. I have them 5-6.
Yeah. I have Brady ahead in 4-point passing touchdowns. So if it was 6-point passing touchdowns, it wouldn't even be close. It would be Brady way ahead. But Brady's just been different. That's just all it is. It's just crazy. All right. Tonight, Lockett. So Lockett on Sunday or AB tonight in the flex.
With Russell Wilson out, I think you got to go Antonio Brown. The high ceiling games are always present.
I agree. I have Brown at 23 this week. Lockett, I have at 27.
I have him at 25 and 27. So
I just think that I have DK Metcalf above consensus this week and Lockett below. I think that Lockett is getting killed by Geno because Lockett relies on that deep ball timing, and if he just doesn't get it, Geno's not going to give it to him. So Lockett is going to be a low end 2 to high end 3, depending on the matchup. This is not a good matchup. So he's a high end 3.
Looked like he favored Metcalf at the end of that game too. When Geno
very much so. Because if you're not good, you're probably going to throw to the bigger player. Typically, or check down to the running back. Brady it is. Yep.
They're both going to have a night. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
I agree. You never know, though. Trogdor.
Oh, yeah.
Love Trogdor. Okay. Claypool. Robinson. James Robinson. It can't be James Robinson because then it would be easy. It has to be Allen Robinson. Claypool, Robinson, Javonte, or Moss. PPR. A lot of good players in here.
Yeah.
I have Moss at running back 18. Javonte at running back 20. But I think it's going to be Claypool for me. I have Claypool at wide receiver 21.
I have him at 24. So I agree.
Yeah. Allen Robinson. Well, Allen Robinson is the one that's not considering. He's not in consideration here. He's not even in the conversation. It would be the one of the.
Which is shocking.
Zach Moss for me this week is like, I have him at running back 18, but he's not in the range where I'm fully confident. As you keep going up, I have Josh Jacobs at 17, still not fully confident. Leonard Fournette at 16, you're starting to get, that's like a jump for me. I have more confidence. And then you get to Kareem Hunt at 15. I'm pretty confident. And then I get to Darrell Henderson at 14 where I'm fully confident. But, generally when you're in the range of, if you're not confident between running back and wide receiver, once you get out of the range of running backs where you're confident, if you're picking between players that are close in rank, it's almost always going to be the wide receiver in a PPR. In a half PPR, it'll be the wide receiver more often, but sometimes it'll be the running back. In standard, it'll mostly be the running back. But since this is PPR, it's going to be Chase.
With the Juju injury, Claypool is going to be interesting this week.
Yeah, the Juju injury. I mean, I will say, nobody seemed to miss him. The offense didn't change. It's almost like it didn't matter. I wonder why. I don't know. Just something for people to think about who are thinking of buying Juju in Dynasty. Do not do that. Do not waste your time. Don't buy injured slot jag receivers. You don't need to do that. I don't care that he's only going to turn 25 in November. You don't need to waste your time.
Unless you can do it for a third, which you can't. But
yeah, I mean, I would consider it. I don't think I'd even pay a second.
No.
At this point for Juju. I don't want him. Okay, for another one of our friends, Andrew Hall. This is where we are with Miles Sanders. This is where we are. Miles Sanders or A.J. Dillon? PPR.
I think you have to risk it with Sanders.
I'll risk it with Sanders. I have Dillon at running back 36. I'm not confident.
I have him at 37.
So almost the same spot. Sanders at 29. You said you had him at 24. So
yep.
It's closer for me than it is for you, but it's not that close. So still take Sanders.
Oh, yeah. With Sirianni, you never know.
Yeah. It's hard.
It could be there tonight.
It's kind of similar. Like, I see Miles Sanders as kind of how I see Allen Robinson. It's like, I get it, but how far do you want me to drop him in the rankings? He's just going to hang around in somewhere in the mid-20s to low 30s forever because he is getting the snaps. It is possible that he could get a bunch of carries just based on a different game script or something, or it just happens to go that way at a time, or he gets a couple goal line carries. It's just, he's there. So it's just, there's only so low you can drop him. Whereas A.J. Dillon is a backup. So I'll still go with Miles Sanders. But I do not want to start Miles Sanders this week. And don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying I want to start Kenneth Gainwell this week. That is not what I'm saying. I do not want to start Kenneth Gainwell either. I would like to avoid this running game entirely. This running game is a problem. Miles Sanders actually had like some of the most snap share last week that he had all season. So it's not like I'm going to Kenneth Gainwell. The only reason why I would like Kenneth Gainwell in this matchup and why I have them closer than the snap share would dictate is because the odds that this is they're going to be playing from behind. So we have higher odds of seeing more Gainwell than usual. So that's why I have them close. I have Sanders at 29. I have Gainwell at 33.
I'm at 31.
Okay, so you're just higher on both.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple new questions in the chat, so we'll come back to these questions. So two of these, so a super flex from Damon. Cousins, Heineke. Heineke is interesting. Wentz and Jones if he plays. I think this is easy.
I'm going Heineke and Cousins.
Heineke and Cousins, yeah. Wentz, Carson failure. I can't have the failure. So he is playing Houston. The failure is actually not a bad start this week. But I only have him at quarterback 20. Still not that in on failure.
Yeah.
And Daniel Jones, I assume he's going to clear the concussion protocol like Teddy Bridgewater did last week. I have him ranked as if he's going to play. But the problem is that he's not going to have Galladay. I don't know if he's going to have Shepard or Slayton. He might have none of those people.
Against the Rams, yeah.
Against the Rams, I'm not running to start. Like if we hear that if it's the best case scenario, he's not going to have Galladay or Barkley. But if it's the best case scenario, he has Tony, he has Shepard, he has Slayton, and he's a full go, no issues, and gets in a full practice tomorrow. Let's say that's the best case scenario. I would still only move Daniel Jones maybe up to quarterback 21. I'm not running to start him this week. So it's going to be Cousins and Heineke no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Heineke's going to have to throw that ball this week going against Mahomes.
This matchup is terrible against the Rams. Terrible. We don't want this. We don't want this one. Not without Galladay and Barkley. Okay, Daniel, Gainwell or Rondale Moore, half PPR. It's funny because usually half PPR benefits the running back more, but Gainwell is essentially not a running back. He doesn't get a lot of carries. I don't really know who it benefits, so I would just go with, and Rondale Moore also is not a volume guy. I'm going to go Rondale Moore. I just think the odds you're happier with Rondale Moore's performance are higher. Also, I want to say something about Rondale Moore. Max Williams was, as you know, had, maybe people don't know, season-ending knee injury. So they were running 11 personnel to accommodate Williams. Essentially, Williams was playing so well that they ran 11 to accommodate him. Now they're going to go back to 10, which is a 4 wide receiver set, I think, is their base offense. They did it after Williams went down in the last game. So you're going to see more of Rondo. I have all of Moore, Kirk, and Green higher than I did last week. I have them all inside the top 50, actually.
Yep.
I have them very close. I have Moore at 43, Green at 44, and Kirk at 48. So I think I'll go with Rondo Moore just for the upside. I think that it's possible all receivers here see a 60% snap share or more.
Oh, I agree with you. I have Rondo Moore a little higher. I put him up to 39.
It's a little high for me. I just have other players.
Yeah. Then I have Green and Kirk at 47, 48 back to back.
I also might have included I included Julio Jones, who you might not have even ranked, assuming he's not going to play. So I have Julio Jones ranked in there somewhere. So that's one more guy ahead.
Yeah.
Brandon Cooks from Psycho Scout. Brandon Cooks or Mike Evans? This is Mike Evans.
Yeah.
I have Mike Evans at 16.
I have him at 17.
And where do you have Chris Godwin?
16.
14.
One spot above.
And where do you have Antonio Brown?
25.
I have him at 23. So essentially I have everybody higher.
It's a 3-way coin flip with this. Maybe that's why I bumped them down. It's a coin flip. You don't know who's going to get the volume on any given week. But they're all good options. If they hit, you're getting a 30-point game, basically.
I just know that Evans and Godwin are every down players and Brown is not. So that's why I have Evans and Godwin higher. I have Godwin a couple of spots higher because I think he's better, but I think it's at this point, I think we've gone back to what I thought it was going to be at the start of the season, which is Evans and Godwin being somewhat close to each other, with Godwin being a little bit more consistent. And that's what I expect for the rest of the season. And then Brown also being good, but being third because of the snap share. But to this question, it's Mike Evans easily. Okay. This made it harder. You put Hollywood Brown in there. We only get one. I'm still going to go Mike Evans. Matchup's too good.
The matchup is too good. But
Hollywood's matchup is not good.
I'm still doing it.
I like Hollywood, but I have Hollywood at 19. I have him above consensus. Consensus has him like 24, and I'm like, where have you been for the last 11 games? I think that's too low, but I think it's fair to recognize that this matchup against the Chargers is not good. So 19, I think, is a fair. I have Deontay Johnson at 13, Godwin at 14, Evans at 16. I have Lamb ahead of. I I have Amari Cooper, A.J. Brown ahead of Hollywood Brown. I like Hollywood Brown, but it's just there are other players. It's not a negative on Hollywood Brown.
It's a negative matchup for, the matchup standpoint, but for the volume, they're gonna have to pass the ball. Lamar's gonna have to throw the ball to keep up.
I know. Mike Evans is such a good play this week.
It's hard to sit
Mike Evans.
I want to know who else he has on his team because I'd start both these guys.
I mean, you wouldn't have thought, though. I mean, you wouldn't have thought you had anything with Hollywood Brown. Mike Evans has been better than expected also, and Brandon Cooks is way outperforming, or at least until the last 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay, from Traveler, do you think Fitz gets the job back for the Washington football team? I would say no. No. I would say no. I think Fitz has taken his last NFL snap. This hip injury is severe for someone his age. I think he's done. I don't think that I think Taylor Heineke's not their 2022 quarterback either. I don't know what they're going to do, but we didn't foresee the Bears acquiring Justin Fields either, right? We did not foresee that. Could they? Who knows who they're going to get? I mean, they're going to be a team that's in a little bit of quarterback purgatory. Taylor Heineke is under contract for next year, but I assume they see him as their backup. And we know he can come in. It's good to have a backup like that who can come in and play okay. They have to make a move for a quarterback. They could be in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would want to go there. No. And also the culture, I mean, it would be a little bit interesting if the Washington football team, after everything that's going on with Dan Snyder, took on Deshaun Watson. I mean, that would be on brand. But also, can they afford that from a PR perspective? It's already so bad. I don't know if they can afford that. So, but with all that said, they're going to have another quarterback next year. So if people think Heineke is going to be the long-term solution, I would sell him. But no, I don't think Fitz gets the job back. I think you have Heineke for the rest of the year in Superflex.
I think they'll get an opportunity to pick a quarterback this year. There's a lot they're going to get round one capital.
There's a lot of mediocre, but if it's mediocre or Heineke, you're probably better off with trying a mediocre rookie at least. You could have Heineke. It's possible Heineke opens the 2022 season as the starter, but we'll see what they do. I don't know. Okay, question about tonight. Rough running back luck. Start Gio, half PPR only. Start Gio or hold out hope for Chuba, Alex Collins, or Sony. Well, in half PPR, we're not going to start Gio, so I guess you have to wait.
I mean, it's tough.
If CMC didn't play, Chuba would be the highest of these, right?
Yes.
Now, what if CMC and Carson play? If CMC and Carson play, then who would you take if this is all you have? But I think you should wait.
You have to wait. Gio
and half is not even usable.
These other guys will get a roll if.
I cannot imagine. Nobody in the industry is ranking Carson as if he's going to play.
I didn't.
People do not. I didn't rank Carson. So I think it's going to end up being. I still am holding out hope that CMC is going to play. And if CMC is going to play, I think for me, I'm predicting CMC plays, Carson doesn't, so then you end up with playing Collins. And I have Collins ranked as of now, assuming that Carson will not play. The matchup is terrible, but I have Collins ranked at 27, just for the volume. We saw that he was the guy, for sure. Yeah. So I have him at 27.
I didn't rank CMC because I didn't think he was going to play, but I'll just move everyone down a spot. I'll just put him at 23.
Sure. But I ranked Chuba as if CMC would play, and I ranked Chuba at 44. So Chuba's only usable if CMC doesn't play. If CMC's active, you can't play Chuba.
I have him right above Alex Collins because I didn't rank either of them.
Yeah, well, if I would prefer to play Chuba over Collins if you had both, but I don't think you will. I expect CMC to return to a limited practice tomorrow and play. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, then he doesn't need to practice to play, but if he doesn't even get in a limited session tomorrow, he won't play. I would change my prediction. But I do think he comes back to what you see, doesn't practice, limited Friday and plays. Yeah, that's CMC. They need him. This is not a different
week.
What?
After last week, they do need him.
No, they need him. I mean, he's their team.
Well, they need him anyway, but
without him, they're nothing.
Yeah, but Sam Darnold showed like the cracks in the armor last week. He didn't like the hottest.
Funny this comes up because I didn't even see this when we were talking about it. I do, but he needs to get in a limited session tomorrow for me to be confident in that. If he practices in any capacity tomorrow, I expect him to play. I expect him to be listed as questionable no matter what, but I expect him to play. Okay. I mean, from Jesse, Hurts or Lamar, how are you going to bench Lamar? You're not going to bench Lamar. You're not going to bench Lamar. That would be something I think he would regret. So
Lamar too low.
Yeah, I have Lamar at 3, and I don't like it.
Too high.
I feel like I should have
too low. I feel that way too, and I have him at 4. Just feels.
Yeah. I have Lamar at 3, so I'm playing Lamar.
200%.
All right. From Iron Kev, wide receivers, I have DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, and Cortland Sutton. Oh, you really have good options here. You need to pick 3. So who is sitting out for you?
This is a competition between the last two because you're definitely starting DJ Moore and you're definitely starting Mike Evans this week.
DJ Moore is a completely different conversation from these other 3. DJ Moore I have at wide receiver 6.
Hey, so do I. Nice.
Yeah, so he's way above these other guys.
Oh, agreed.
And then Evans is kind of above them too. I have Evans at 16. But between Brown and Sutton, who are you going with?
I'll go Sutton. I have Sutton above him, and I think it'd just be kind of smart with the lineup construction. But I go Sutton regardless.
I would go Sutton. I have Sutton at 20. And Brown
are identical there too.
Yeah. No, I like Sutton this week. He had a good week last week playing Vegas. Bridgewater's should be fully healthy. And last week, yes, he was fully – because from a concussion, you either have a concussion or you don't. Mm-hmm. It's not like it's not like a knee injury. You either have it or you don't. If you have any symptoms, you don't play. So he was 100%. But just because he was 100%, he didn't practice all week. He was not able to do a full weeks of practice. So even if he was 100% physically, he might not have been 100% there mentally. Because remember, when you have a concussion, you can't think, you can't concentrate, he was not looking at the playbook. So it's just this week, I think he will get everything from Bridgewater of a full week against Vegas, who is in complete disarray, which means that I would like to play Sutton this week, who I have at 20. I think is a great play. Tim Patrick is an under the radar play, but Sutton is a great play. Fantasy Giant, not exactly starts it. Rest of season, Devonta Smith or Antonio Brown?
Devonta, pretty easy.
Oh,
I'm going for the guarantee.
If I don't have Devonta Smith ranked ahead this week, why would it be Devonta Smith then?
True.
I think it's Antonio Brown.
That's
unfortunately.
fair.
It's close. I see little to no upside with either of these, as in neither of these two. I actually think the path for Antonio Brown to be a fantasy wide receiver 1 is easier than Devonta Smith is not going to be a fantasy wide receiver 1, period, this season. Whereas Antonio Brown, you just remove Evans or Godwin, and then Antonio Brown is a wide receiver 1 every week. You just remove one of the 3, and the other 2 are wide receiver 1s weekly, every week. All you have to do is take one out.
That's a good point.
So I see more upside. I see more upside and more safety with Antonio Brown. Devonta Smith has the downside of if everything goes wrong and everything starts to spiral and we have a disaster. Whereas the Bucs are playing hard every week till the end. So it is close, but I would go with Antonio Brown. I actually think he has more upside. And he has more upside and a safer floor than Devonta Smith. So Antonio Brown. It's a good question, though. It's a good question.
It is. Fantastic question.
Another good one about tonight. Gainwell or Damien Harris? Only in half PPR. This is easy, right? Damien Harris?
Yeah. Damien Harris. Maybe Gainwell in full, but.
No, still not. Still Harris for me. Okay. Gainwell or Bernard, standard. Is this mandatory? Do you have to play one of these two? In a standard, I feel like there might actually be waiver wire options that are better. Standard, these two are unusable.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. You're bet on a touchdown.
Like,
just not a high upside bet.
I'm trying to think, like, who could be on waivers that might be better.
I'm trying to give it a look.
In a standard, there's no way James Conner is on waivers. But I would rather play James Conner or Devin Singletary over either of these. In a standard, I might even force in like Tyson Williams over these guys. In a standard, these guys are useless. Chris Evans, I would consider forcing in Chris Evans in a standard over these guys.
I agree.
With Samaje Perine on the COVID list. And
Latavius Murray maybe.
Latavius Murray's probably not on waivers. But yeah, I do not want to play these guys in a standard. But if I had to choose, it would be Gainwell, I guess. But
he gets more snaps.
He will this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do not want to choose there. Okay. A lot of Antonio Brown questions that make sense for tonight. He's the one that people actually are asking about. We know to start Evans and Godwin. From Nathan, Brown, Pittman, Higgins, Thielen. Need 3. Who do I sit?
I'm sitting Thielen. I don't know about you.
Sitting Thielen. I'm worried about Adam Thielen. I'm worried. He's departed the circle of trust. He's at wide receiver 29, and he is like one more bad game away. Because unlike Allen Robinson is still good. There's nothing wrong with Allen Robinson. There's nothing wrong. He's not producing, but it's not because he's a bad player. There's nothing wrong with Allen Robinson. Adam Thielen is 31 and not very athletic. So compared to other wide receivers, it's possible that Adam Thielen is in decline and washed. So I have a much more careful eye with Adam Thielen. So if he's not good this week, he's going to be in my 30s going forward. So yeah, the others are all great matchups. Brown tonight, I like him. Pittman, we haven't talked about. Pittman had balled out. I'm wide receiver 24 against Houston. What a good matchup for Pittman. Not a lot of competition. And Higgins against Detroit, I have at 26. I just think Chase is taking everything over, so I don't have him that high. But I'd like to see Higgins reestablish himself. And I would like it if instead of Higgins at 26 and Boyd at 35, I could rank it Higgins at 20 and Boyd at 40. I would like it if I could do that, but I can't.
Not yet.
Okay, start 1 for flex from Joshua. Gaskin, Waddle, Parker, or Rondale Moore. One of these. These are very unappealing.
Yeah. I mean,
so
Gaskin had a huge week last
Parker
week.
was on the plane. I think he is a true questionable. I think he's 50-50 to go. So he's not in consideration. For me, it's going to be, it's so close between, it's really between Gaskin and Waddle. Oh, you're going to get burned by Gaskin. This is going to be something we have to deal with all season. Last week, he had 10 receptions. The week before, he had 12% of snaps. Which one is it going to be this week? I'll go Waddle, I guess.
Barely.
Does Tua coming back change anything? Tua, I think, is a true questionable also. Like, he was activated from IR, but I think it's 50-50 if Tua goes. Brissett also has a hamstring injury, where I think that makes it slightly more likely that it's going to be Tua. I don't think my ranking would change. That goes of the quarterback. I have Brissett at 26, and if Tua were Tua, I would just slot Tua right in at 26. So it goes to show you, I think that going to Tua is a downgrade, not an upgrade.
I agree.
I don't think it's a good thing. So, nothing would change in any of these ranks for any of these players with a quarterback change for me, really. It's a small downgrade. So, Waddle. I'm going to go with Waddle. I think Waddle's volume is safe. At least he's going to get PPR touches.
Yep.
And this illustrates the Gaskin problem. You started him in week 4. You got the 2 carries for 3 yards. And you didn't start him in week 5. And you missed out on 10 receptions for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Therein lies the problem. I have Gaskin at running back 25. So he carries extreme risk. But I have him above guys like Booker and Collins who are just so unappealing. Gaskin's playing Jacksonville. I have him at running back 25. If he comes out again this week, I need a second week. If he comes out again this week and gets the majority touch share and does what he did in week 5 and week 6, then for week 7, I'll go back to Gaskin for what I thought he was and just say week 4 was an aberration.
I get behind that.
Yeah, but I can't do that yet because it's one game of bad and one game of good. We don't know what's
10 receptions. Like,
who knows what it's going to be. Okay. We talked about this. It's Hurts over Dak. Claypool or Antonio Brown. I think even if we haven't addressed this exactly, we have Claypool.
We touched on it. Yeah, Claypool.
Yeah, Claypool for me. Close though. This is a good one. We have not talked about this. This is one of the ones I wanted to get to. Miles Sanders or Jalen Reagor from Daniel. He's leaning Reagor. What do you think? Eagles fan over here.
Oh gosh, this is like the terror. This is the question I didn't want to see tonight, but I got.
I put it in just for you.
I know. I figured. I'm leaning Miles Sanders. Jalen Reagor is just. I think Quez Watkins is overtaking that role, or at least he should. Quez Watkins has looked decently impressive on his limited touches and limited snaps. That I think he should be taking more Reagor's work. And Sanders, I know it's gonna be a bad game script, but Nick Sirianni, you never know what's gonna happen. Like he can come out and they want to run the ball and try to control the clock and try to slow down Brady a little bit. They get Miles Sanders going. You just don't know. I'm leaning Sanders.
Yeah, I mean I have Reagor at wide receiver 53 and Quez Watkins at wide receiver 55. I've been forced to start Quez Watkins and Scott Fishbowl. Ooh. Well, okay, but Michael Thomas is out. Rashad Bateman, I picked him. That didn't go. How well has that gone? Jerry Jeudy out. Calvin Ridley is on bye. I picked up KJ Hamler to try to fill the void, torn ACL. So all I have left is T. Higgins and Michael Pittman. And then I had to pick up someone off of waivers. So it was, it was Quez Watkins because there was no one else.
I guess our Scott Fishbowls are going differently. I'm just starting.
Oh, no, I've already quit. I've already given up.
I'm starting the 3 tight end trifecta. I have Dalton Schultz, Kyle Pitts, and Travis Kelce.
I have Travis Kelce.
I'm just having fun over there.
All right, let's take this last question and then we'll go. So from McWizard, PPR pick 3: Amari Cooper, Antonio Brown, Devonta Smith, Michael Pittman, T. Higgins, Kadarius Toney, Miles Gaskin. So 3 of these. Ooh. It's very close actually, because it's Cooper easily, and then the next 4 I have, I believe, back to back. Yeah, I have Antonio Brown at 23, Pittman at 24, Smith at 25, and Higgins at 26. So I guess it'll be Cooper, Brown, and Pittman.
I'm gonna go Cooper. I have Pittman higher, I believe. I'm gonna go Cooper, Pittman, and Smith, but they're all close, like you said. Okay. I just have them in a different order than you do.
All right. Well, we have we've answered all these questions. Thanks to everyone for tuning into the show. I think the people know where to find me. I will put I'll put my Patreon link in the bottom of the show. There it is. So yeah, just tell the people where they can find you.
They can find me on Twitter at BrianPros_FF. You can find me at the Fantasy Newsroom with Spencer and Matt every Sunday mornings. We're still ironing out the schedule. Spencer's getting a work change, so we got to work on that. But you can find my writing over at the Dynasty Vipers. I like to write some waiver articles, some trade articles, all the fun stuff. But yeah, thank you for having me on, Tyler. It's always fun. Always a blast.
Yeah, no problem. I love it. There's the Patreon. There's my author profile. And there are our Twitter handles. So just add us or comment on stuff and everything. Anyway, thanks for watching, and good luck tonight.